Hello everybody and welcome back to Big Dan's channel. I am, of course, as always, Big Dan, and today I'm going to be reviewing Dune Part 2. Now, just before I get into the main bit of the review itself, obviously as you've probably noticed, those of you who usually watch a lot of my previous videos and stuff like that, first off, Tyler's missing. It's because I was planning originally to go see this with him, but unfortunately he's fallen sick. So Tyler, obviously if you're watching this, I hope you do feel better soon. As well as that, there's the fact that obviously my background's different and it's the old one. It's just because of that. Because usually when I film with Tyler, it's because we're filming like straight after somewhere while we're at the university that I'm at currently. Because we're not, I just thought it would be nice to bring this background back for this video. So that's why. Anyway, so the review itself. So the first little negative, and it's the only real one I have for the film that I just want to get out of the way straight away. Similar to when I reviewed Poor Things, pacing problems, mainly because of running length, because the thing's like 2 hours 46, something like that. The problem it had was that early on, the first act in particular, it dragged a little bit, and I was like, oh, can we get to the main stuff already? And there is chunks of the second act where I felt the same way, but honestly, that is the only problem I have with the entire film. Other than that, this is pretty good, to be honest. Really spectacular. First off, it needs to be said, the performances here, just like the first film, are incredible. There's absolutely not a single fault to be found with them, and Timothy Chalamet is the film's protagonist, and well, going to be the series protagonist. Absolutely amazing. Cannot fault the guy whatsoever. Absolutely brilliant. I want to talk about as well, the action here is incredible. Really, like an epic kind of film, like one of those like epics as they call them. It really feels like one of them. And Denis Villeneuve, if that's how you pronounce his name, I've honestly got no idea. Your directing is absolutely brilliant, mate. I cannot fault you on it. You've outdone yourself once again. Genuinely, congratulations to the directing here. It goes above and beyond in the choreography and just how well orchestrated everything is in the film. Brilliant. Honestly, I cannot fault it. And the score as well. The film's score, just like first time round, something I never really mentioned. I feel like this film, and I want to, I don't know if I'm phrasing this right, but it definitely has to be like inspired by like, not Arabic, but if that makes sense. Like, there has to be some kind of Arabic influence behind this film with a lot of like the aesthetics and the sound design and stuff like that. It just, it feels like it's too much of a coincidence, it would be, for it not to have some kind of like Arab influence, and it has to have one. But I am not saying that as a problem for the film. It works very much in its favour, and the film is absolutely brilliant when this happens, and it is phenomenal, and I love this so much. It's just something I wanted to point out. These like elements of the film that are made like to have this sort of aesthetic, absolutely amazing. I love them a bit. And as well as that, I think when I talked about the fact that the second act, well, chunks of the second act and the first act itself were a bit slow. The third act, I was worried about this, but thankfully there is like a big sort of final fight in the third act. Again, not going into spoilers or anything like that, but there is a big final fight in the third act to just round the whole film off and end it on like a really strong positive, and I could highly appreciate it for that. And I saw that a lot of people were giving this film 5 stars, and I can really understand where they're coming from. Like, I'm not going to judge or anything like that. I can completely understand it. And I just want to talk about as well. This was really, really good. Like, I mean, really good. This is now probably going to end up being the best film I've seen at the cinema so far this year, and it could very well retain that title. Like, absolutely flawless. Not flawless, but phenomenal. It's definitely better than the first one. I can tell you that now. First one I gave 4 stars. This is definitely better. I can also give the film a lot of credit for the fact that since this is going to be a trilogy and all that, I really think it does set up part 3 quite well. And I know a lot of people have compared this film to being like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, sort of like for the modern day. And this series, I mean, sorry. And okay, yeah, I do prefer Lord of the Rings trilogy so far at least, but I can't very much understand where people are coming from with that statement, and I wouldn't really like disagree with them or anything like that. I can say exactly why they say like it is that series for sort of this generation, if that makes sense. So yeah, honestly, on that note, perfectly understandable. And I can agree with them on that. They are very, very much right, and I can see exactly where they're coming from. So, for all of those reasons, my final verdict for Dune Part 2, taking into account the little flaws I had and all that, but the very strong positives at the same time, my final verdict for Dune Part 2 is a 9 out of 10. Believe me, please, when I say it was really, really close to being a 10. There was a lot of times, especially towards the end, where I was considering it and I was thinking, oh, should I? Should I? Because for all it had flaws in this pace and that, I feel like you can still give a film 5 stars and admit it has its problems. But it was just that it was a little bit too much of a flaw to put it up to the 10, if that makes sense. But even so, honestly, lives up to the original completely. I promise you that. If you don't have a good time with this film, I will genuinely be shocked. It is so nice. The Game of Thrones politics kind of thing that we saw in the first one, that does kind of go out the window a little bit. So if you did enjoy that quite a bit in the first one, you might miss it a little bit, you know, that kind of style of the film. But honestly, even so, brilliant. Amazing action sequences, amazing score, amazing performances, amazing third act. Yes, it has some pacing problems, but phenomenal. Phenomenal film. Very, very good. I will be surprised, to be completely honest, if there is something that beats this so far this year. The rest of this year, sorry. From what I've got upcoming and all that, I will be surprised because I cannot see many that could potentially beat it. But hey ho, I could be wrong. I mean, it has happened before, like John Wick Chapter 4. I wasn't sure how that was going to turn out, and I ended up giving that 5 stars last year. So, you know, there is still a lot of time this year. On that note, that's all I've got to say about the film. Thank you all for watching this review. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to press like, subscribe if you want to see the rest of my reviews and other general content. Thank you for watching, and I am out. Peace.